Time then for the women's doubles gold medal match. And Turkey lead out RAF.
Representing RPF, Anna Ilina and Ilina Krutova. On target number 2, representing Turkey, Fatma Danabas and Nil Mizir.
A lot of support for this Turkish team here. Fatma Danabas and Nil Mizir line up for Turkey, and they go up against RAF, Anna Ilina and Elena Krutova. Talked about Paralympic experience. Well, Danbas was at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. Krutova got a mixed team bronze medal there and is a former world champion as well. So tight matchup here. Nikki, compound format we're following here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So on the set system, there's going to be 4 sets. Each archer is going to shoot 2 arrows in their team, and it's down to raw score.
Yeah, so cumulative score for the athletes, so fairly simple. You've got a bigger number at the end of the 4 ends, then you win the title. Well, time for the women's doubles here in Dubai to get underway. Starting our coverage today right off the mark with a gold medal match, and it will be RAF on target number 1 who will shoot first. You can see the compound bow there with the mechanical aids. And a very good start there for RAF.
9.
Seems to be a bit of wind in the venue. Whether that's a problem on the first shot. Both arrows in the same direction though, so you just got to make some adjustments. Talk together as a team.
marked as a 9, that last arrow for RAF. They are out of reach, Turkey, but they'll need to sort things out. Both pulling left with their first 2 arrows. That's still going left into the 6 this time. Didn't have much time there, and that's gone way wide. A tricky first end for Turkey here. Conditions very, very breezy indeed. A tough start there. Nikki, the conditions are the same for both teams here. We're talking about shooting down a 50-meter range. They have a little bit of extra time for good reason, but what are the key differences that we should be looking out for with this discipline compared to the non-disabled version of archery?
So we're looking at the W1s all of today. So W1s are, I guess, kind of more disabled. You need more points deducted to be in this category. So the athletes we're looking at have got problems with upper limb and lower limb and core to be on this category. So we can see already, some of the hands in the bow and things like that looking a slightly different shape to some of the other athletes. So, we've got the full size target face on as well. You can see the 10 zone scoring to allow for that as well. And then non-disabled archery we have only down to the 5 ring, so it allows more opportunity to make scoring.
So these are athletes with the most severe of impairments. And to add to the difficulty, the wind is a challenge here today. A tricky start for Turkey, only 17 points in the first end, so they will shoot first at the start of the second. You can really see the wind blowing here, really has picked up here. Well, that's a lot better.
A lot of these athletes, you can see they're using a wrist strap to help pull the bow, so it might be they've got less power in the fingers themselves. So it helps to draw the bow back from the wrist. You can see the Turkish team, how important that coach is behind as well. He's loading for both of these athletes. Why they're going to be a bit tight on time, I think, too.
Oh, just made it. Just on the edge there, marked as a 9 by the stadium announcer. And that's dropped in to the 7.
Total score 6 Kitty for Turkey. And you are waiting for the judges' confirmation for these scores.
Yeah, just checking that one arrow there. I mean, it's still a big gap here. RAF leading by nearly 20 points. Just talk us through a little bit about the communication between the athletes, because I think the astute amongst you will notice that two of the athletes are back to back.
Yeah, so what's important about the team around here is we can see that archers sat on the shooting line, and again in able-bodied archery we would come off the shooting line behind that waiting line, but for these guys, as soon as they shoot that arrow, they've got to make an audio and a visual signal that they've completed that end, so you'll see them kind of shout and raise a hand usually. I think the guys sitting back to back is probably about them trying to get as close to the centre of the target as possible. You know, if you are sort of facing each other, I guess you're on the more of the outside of the target, so perhaps they're just trying to get as close together as they can.
So we go into the third of 4 ends here, and Turkey, well, they're in a little bit of an uphill battle. You look at the qualification scores. It was a 1-1-4-7 for Turkey and a 1-2-2-7 for RAF, which perhaps gives us an indication of the difference between the teams. But there's been a lot of investment in Turkish archery, para archery, and they'll be keen to impress here. So good first arrow from Messier. Oh, even better from Danabas.
Coach again there, just making the adjustments on the sight for her. A bit of movement in that wind.
Seven.
Got a good picture there of the nose kisser. You can have one point of contact on the string onto your face. Some archers on the nose, some archers on the lips, but it just helps as a point of reference really. These archers aren't allowed that magnified scope. They're on a normal standard pin, no bubble.
Another stray last arrow there from Danabas.
Nine. Four.
It's interesting, isn't it? The last arrows for both teams, they seem to be going a little stray. Is that because they are pressed up against the time clock here?
Yeah, I think it's going to play a factor, particularly, you know, with the coach loading the arrows for them and things. It's a little bit slower, isn't it, for them to get through? So, yeah, it may well be putting a little bit more pressure on them and them feeling that they've got to really make that shot happen rather than shooting their normal shot.
Yeah, they're not helped here by the windy conditions. It's not a strong wind, but Nikki, you say all the time, it's not about the strength of the wind, it's about the consistency. You can have blowing a gale. If it's consistent, the archer knows exactly where to aim off to get the arrow to come back into the target. If it's blustery, it's just no good at all, is it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if it's consistent when you can actually just move your sight and aim in the middle, but if it's really variable, sometimes you've got to aim in the middle, sometimes you've got to aim off. It's a bit more tricky of when to shoot, but they haven't really got a choice. Like we said about the time clocks, they've just got to shoot in the conditions they're given.
Well, tricky ask now for the Turkish team, more than 20 points behind. So now it's all about pride and making your backers at home in Istanbul proud of what you do. So Turkey will shoot first in the fourth end. They'll be looking for the biggest score they've got so far in the match. 28 to beat for them.
Maybe 9.
We just saw a little bit of flinch from that shot, didn't we? Finger on the release. Brain thought it was going to go, that anticipation, but she managed to get it off. It's looking quite dark down the range as well. Look at the light conditions behind the targets. Bit of light there, a bit darker in front. Target 2 a little bit brighter than target 1. As I said before, these archers are using just a normal recurve pin sight, so probably not as crucial as the compounders who use the magnified scopes. But still a challenge with your string picture. Just seeing that as your back sight, that string. There's no peep sight, there's no sight in the back of the string for these guys. They're just got to look at the string against that sight or the bow.
Well, another tricky end for Turkey. They finish on 98. So this is now about just smashing it into the 10s just to finish things off for RAF. Got a little wild there. Still that wind, you can see the t-shirts ruffling. A big twitch there. Right up to the time marker again, but a fairly comfortable win for Anna Elina and Elena Krutova. RAF take the first gold of the day here in Dubai. A good performance from Turkey. They want to come back and do more in the future, but they got a chance to shoot live on TV and here on a finals range. A good experience for the young team who will be back for sure. But RAF take the first world title of the second day of live coverage from Dubai and the 2022 World Archery Para Championships.